Okay, welcome and thank you everybody for joining us. My name is Morgan Palmer and I will be the moderator for this press conference. Today I'm joined with 4 members of our U.S. Olympic softball silver medal team who returned to the Olympic stage for the first time since 2008. In their journey to the Tokyo Olympic silver medal, the Team USA posted wins over Italy, Canada, Mexico, Australia, and Japan to qualify for their 5th straight Olympic gold medal contest. After falling to Japan last night, the U.S. earned their 2nd Olympic silver medal in USA softball history. As an introduction to each of our athletes, we have center fielder Haley McClinney, pitcher Monica Abbott, pitcher Kat Osterman, and first baseman Valerie Arioto. To kick things off, I'm going to turn it over to the athletes just to kind of give a brief opening statement on their thoughts and experience here in Tokyo.
I'll start. I just want to say a big thank you to the country of Japan for having us. It's been the ride of a lifetime with the women sitting up here on this platform with me, but also our entire team. So we're just really grateful. I'm grateful to be bringing a silver medal back to the States, and wouldn't trade this experience for the world with you guys.
Yeah, I also just want to say thank you to Japan, the host country, for putting on a world-class event and the opportunity for softball to be back on the Olympic stage. It's been an incredibly, it's been an incredible journey, and there's been tons of challenges along the way, but I'm really proud of the way USA Softball, the team, the organization, and the supporters have continued to see us through all of it, and we're proud to be bringing home a silver medal.
Similar statements, obviously. Thank you to Japan and Tokyo both for hosting the Olympic Games, especially amid a pandemic and uncertainty, but the games have gone off extremely well from the softball side, the support, the work, just running of the events. It's been an amazing situation, friendly people that we've encountered and encouragement. So it's been a great Olympic Games. Obviously, the final game didn't go the way we wanted it to, but this team has a lot to be proud of, and it may take some time for all of us to understand that, but we are proud to be bringing home a silver medal and know that the journey that we had was pretty incredible.
I just also want to echo our thanks to Japan, not only for putting on a great Olympics, but also their support of baseball and softball just in general throughout the years of giving us opportunity to play every single year in and year out. So I want to thank them, and also just USA Softball as an organization also of continuing to push to help us get back into the Olympics permanently. And we got to live out our dream here this week, and it was amazing. And we got to inspire the next generation and keep moving forward with softball, hopefully being an Olympic sport moving forward.
Okay, thank you guys, and we'll now open it up to questions. You can just raise your hand and I will call on you. Yes.
Hey everyone. With the Simone Biles news from last night, how do you guys prioritize your own mental health, and what are some tactics that you guys do to make sure that you are mentally sharp when you take the field, and what are some common misconceptions that non-athletes have when it comes to that part of the game?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we just want to say that we're thinking about Simone. I mean, the pressure I think that comes with competing on a stage like this is something you can't really describe unless you experience it firsthand. So that's something I think we all know very well, especially now after playing, and just having these expectations of, you have to medal, you have to, do all of these things. And it's difficult being an athlete, and you just have to have the right people in your corner. Like, that's why I'm so grateful that I play a team sport where camaraderie is one of the biggest and most influential things to our team's success. So I think it's just about leaning on people in your corner and not being afraid to take a step and say that you need time for yourself.
I think mental health is a big topic right now, and it's probably one of those topics that hasn't been discussed in the past, but it needed to be. Simone Biles, man, what an athlete and competitor, and we put people and athletes on on a high stage, and so many people know her. But I think when you think about it, people forget about the day-to-day grind and demands that all that hype takes on a toll on a person. As athletes, we compete at such a high level, we vibrate at such a high energy level, that putting that in on a daily basis, on show for a stage, always being on, it can be difficult. But it is something that you have to deal with. And just thinking about Simone and everything that she's going through, and just wishing her the best.
I think the Olympics are a special situation, and having probably been in shoes to where she faltered and she thinks she's going to disappoint a lot of people, there is a common conception as an athlete that if you come home with less than silver, it's a disappointment, and you think you're going to go home and all of a sudden be less than in people's eyes. And I've experienced that, and experienced the mental health downside that went with it. Not something I've spoken about publicly, but as an athlete, when you have all that weight on your shoulders, and if you don't have the right people in your corner, or you're not tapping into them day to day, it's not the easiest thing to carry by yourself. So I commend her for stepping out and saying, you know what, I can't do this right now. At the same time, I hope that she has the people in her corner that can get her ready to where hopefully it's not a complete wash for her, that she is able to compete if that's what her heart desires to do. But, I think people need to remember that athletes are humans first. And there are feelings and there are things in there that happen, and weights on the shoulders. And it's not you've done this 1,000 times, you should just be able to deal with it. Like anything in life, you can do it over and over, and there might be one minor situation or minor tweak to a circumstance that changes your nerves or your feelings or anything in it.
Yeah, I just want to commend her courage in talking about her experiences. And I know that this awareness to the topic of mental health is really going to help a lot of athletes and help just people in general be aware of their mental health during this time. And we're here to support her in any way possible.
For Kat and for Monica, did this experience help sort of resolve some of those lingering issues that you had from Beijing? And where do you see softball now going forward as a result of the tournament here this year?
Can you clarify?
Pardon me,
please?
just Kat mentioned the disappointment of 2008. I didn't know if this being able to come back to the Olympics helped sort of resolve any issues that you had lingering back from that loss so many years ago, and if this now helps put you in a better frame for your careers going forward, and then for what you thought about the future of softball as the Olympics as a result of what happened during this year's tournament.
Yeah, in 2008, I think it was when the U.S. lost to Japan in the finals in 2008. We were the defending gold medalists and returned, I think, almost 11 people maybe from that team. So I was a rookie. It was unexpected. It was a tough game, and on that day, everything went their way. Yukiko Ueno threw an incredible game. She had one of those Olympic experiences that just out of mind, out of body experiences. And this experience with the 2020-2021 team, I think it's a completely different story. This USA softball has done and gone through so many challenges leading up to this because of things like not having our coaches, financial strain, not being able to have real competition prior to these games. And we pushed through each one of those challenges, and it made us closer together as people and as teammates. And I think that team unity, that team bond helped us through this tournament in games that, maybe were a little bit closer than we would have liked. But it helped us persevere and come out on top in some of those pool play and round robin games. Unfortunately, last night, we didn't get it done, but I don't think that disappoints or yeah, we might be a little disappointed, but it doesn't show that any more faith or hope that we put it all out on the field. And yeah, I think overall it was a good tournament.
I don't know if it resolved issues, but that the sting of '08, it's gonna hurt. It's always gonna hurt, and that's what I kind of mentioned to these guys about last night for them. It stings for me too. Don't get me wrong, but that initial bout of just being almost sucker punched because you really had an expectation or a belief that you could win a gold medal, it does hang with us. But I think the biggest thing is Monica and I probably, well, I'm gonna assume she agrees with this, but we were more excited about getting softball back on the Olympic stage. It wasn't so much about '08, and I've said a couple times in other press conferences, if her and I were approaching last night solely based on 2008, we were being very selfish individuals, and that's not why either one of us came back to this organization and this team. So our goal was to get this team on the Olympic podium, hopefully the top step. That didn't happen, but it's been a ride of a lifetime. I said last night, if you told me, hey, you can repeat this, but you're going to be a silver medalist again, I would repeat this journey in a heartbeat with this group, because it was just an incredible journey that we have had. Monica mentioned some of the issues or obstacles we've had to overcome, but it's been a tremendous ride. And I think, if anything, in regards to the future of softball, I hope people saw how competitive it really is globally. There is a common misconception that United States and Japan run the table, and that's not the case if you watched. There was close games all the way around. This is a sport that is competed in so many countries. You only saw 6 here tonight, but I can tell you at least offhand another 8 to 10 that we compete with year in and year out. And so hopefully they saw that it is competitive and it deserves its spot back here on the Olympic stage.
And could you also explain a little bit about how not having an Olympics, a quad, or actually 3 years from now, might change and make things challenging for the program?
Sure. I think when we talk about our normal training year for an Olympic year, we would do a tour and play, up to 60 games leading up to the Olympics. This year alone, when we got together in January, we got together knowing that the Olympics might not happen. I remember the first day we were at a training camp in Florida, and everyone was like, all right, we're here and we're actually training. And every news article that was coming out across at that time was saying Olympics looking to be postponed, looking to be canceled, not going to happen. COVID rates are rising. Same thing in February, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. We would basically train for 2 months. And then our college coaches, our coaches also coach college, which is their full-time job in the States, because they took a sabbatical for the 2020 year, where we started our tour in February and March, and then was canceled because of COVID. They weren't able to take that secondary sabbatical to be able to be with us full time. So we had some amazing people step in to help us. But again, we were kind of player driven at that time, and that takes a toll on the team dynamic and the coaching dynamic, I think, on both sides. But I thought, honestly, I don't regret it. I think that we as a team and as the 18 players involved, we did the best with what we had, and we made it work, and we challenged ourselves every day in those practices and workouts that we did. So I think after this, now looking forward into the next quad, which would be Paris, now for us, potentially it's 8 years that hopefully we'll be back on the Olympic docket in 2028. And that's if in LA, in Los Angeles, again, on home soil, that would be absolutely incredible. But still, we don't know if softball is going to be in there. So it changes the perception. All you amazing people that have watched this incredible game, right? The amazing attention, the eyes, the social media, the coverage, all of you sitting in this room right now, you sort of got a small glimpse, were able to maybe possibly fall in love with the sport of softball. And now you have to wait 8 more years, potentially, if not longer, to see us on the world stage again. I mean, that alone right there, that gives me chills. Like that's sad. You know, we're a sport that is played internationally, that has grown incredibly from 2008. People around the world are learning how to pitch. People are learning how to play. I can't tell you how many different people from countries all across the world, India, Slovenia, Czech, all of these different countries that are sending me pictures trying to pitch like me because they watched on social media or they saw it on the Olympic stage. And now, you know, it hurts our sport that it's going to be potentially another 8 years, if not longer. We're a women's sport that thrives in softball. We thrive. Women thrive in this sport. You can be any size, age, shape, color in this sport. Softball does not discriminate, and I think we deserve to be on the Olympic docket on a consistent basis.
Kind of going off of that, I guess for any of you, something that Tokyo 2020 is really kind of touting these games is it's one of the, I think it's the most gender equal game among athletes at least. I'm wondering, I understand you guys are kind of with each other most of the time, and when you're not, you're really hyper-focused on competition, but does that mean anything to you kind of from a broader stance, and how do you guys as athletes kind of experience that? I don't know if when you're interacting with other athletes, when you can, if you're seeing more women around or anything of that nature.
Yeah, I mean, the future's female, right? I think, you know, just being around the Olympic Village and seeing all the support from other women competing in the Olympic Games has been one of the probably highlights, I would say, of my Olympic experience. I've never done this before, so it's just so cool to like just be in the elevator with a bunch of other boss women, like, oh, what sport are you playing? Oh, beach volleyball, or whatever it is. Like, just getting to know people on that level and connecting is really special. And for little girls all over the world to see women competing on the highest level of sports is really freaking awesome, regardless of what sport it is. Like, we know every time we put on a USA uniform and we step out onto that field, we have little girls watching us, and that's one of the coolest things. And so it's awesome because it transcends not only just softball, but all of the Olympic sports as well. So hopefully, you know, moving forward, that continues to be the case with just more women getting the spotlight that they deserve, because we work our tails off just as much as the men do. And if you continue to give us the coverage, we can prove you that time and time again.
Yeah, just to add to that, young girls drop out of sport at a much younger age than young boys do. So having them be able to see us on TV, you know, repping our sport, repping our country, kind of just putting on a good show, I think is just so exciting for the future of women in our sport and just in general. So we're just really, really happy that we got to put on that great show and inspire that next generation of the young softball players who dream to be in the Olympics.
Haley and Monica, I think when you started, you mentioned like the reception you received in Japan. These games have been so different, and I felt like maybe the human connection, you know, being able to meet other athletes and tell your stories might have been hurt. But can you talk about the experience that you've had here and being able to, you know, just meet other people, socially distance, or how that's been like?
Yeah, I mean, I've met so many new people from all walks of life. Just, I mean, being in the Olympic Village was one of the coolest things I think I've ever experienced. I mean, I got to ride Nigel's skateboard from Team USA Skateboarding. Like, he let me take his board for a spin, and he was like, yo, like, go shred it. Like, I'm never going to forget that moment. Like, that's so freaking cool, right? And I'm really glad I didn't break an ankle, because Coach would have been really mad at me. But it's just like little stuff like that, like just hearing how much you have in common with other athletes all over the world, and the similar experiences, the pressures you deal with, the, you know, just all of those little things that no one really gets to see, but we understand. And it's something I'll never forget, and it's something that I'm going to try to stick it out as long as I can. So hopefully softball's back in 2028, and I can be in an Olympic Village in LA. But it's been the ride of a lifetime, the best experience I've ever had playing a sport.
Yeah, I would say kind of the same. I loved that. I saw her ride Nigel's skateboard. It was pretty awesome. But I would say just, yeah, I think the Team USA as a delegation has done a great job of still creating that human connection. I think where it really is disappointing, I think, is a little bit more in the stadiums and in the fan side, not having fans there to see the show that you're putting on. I think that's a little bit disappointing, and you could tell, like, people that are outside your own country, they're a little bit more hesitant. Obviously being mindful of social distancing and masks because there are so many protocols going on and also a lot of barriers set up between us. I think one thing that's a little bit like, obviously you have to have it, but it's also a little bit difficult is in the dining hall, they have the plastic things on both all three sides. So even if I'm sitting next to like Halo, they're pretty thick, and it's really hard to even talk to someone next to you. So I think there is a little bit of that would be nice to have a little bit more human connection on. But within the Team USA delegation, everyone has been really supportive, and we've been really supportive of them, and it's been fun to meet all the other USA athletes.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this video, check out these other videos from USA Today to stay up to date with all the latest news.